Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by green mountains lived two brave children named Sami and Maryam. They loved adventures and spent their days exploring the forests and rivers around their village. But today was different. Something mysterious was about to happen. While playing in the forest, Sami and Maryam discovered an old map hidden inside the trunk of a huge tree. The map was full of strange symbols and seemed to lead to a faraway place called the Island of Magic. Their curiosity got the best of them, and they decided to follow the map. And so the adventure began. They climbed mountains, crossed rivers, and trekked through tall trees. With every step, they felt they were getting closer to a great discovery. Days passed, and at last the forest became thinner, revealing a beautiful sight before them. They had reached the shore of a strange island. The sand sparkled like gold. The trees were taller than houses and seemed to dance with the wind. In the center of the island stood a giant castle glowing in rainbow colors. Hope filled their hearts. Could this be the magical place from the old map? Excited and a bit scared, Sami and Maryam started to walk towards the shimmering castle, eager to see what wonders awaited them. As they approached the castle, the sound of gentle music filled the air, and the sweet melody seemed to invite them in. The children looked at each other, a mix of excitement and nervousness on their faces. Holding hands for support, they walked through the giant wooden doors and stepped inside. What they saw left their jaws wide open in amazement. Everything inside the castle seemed to be alive. Tables and chairs moved on their own, plants swayed in rhythm with the music, and colorful butterflies flew through open windows. Animals talked to each other in friendly voices, and flowers swayed to the enchanting tunes. It was as if the castle itself was having a grand party. In the distance, they spotted a majestic unicorn with a flowing white mane. It pranced gracefully, and its horns seemed to sparkle even brighter than the castle walls. As the children watched in awe, a friendly-looking bird swooped down from the ceiling and landed on Sami's outstretched hand. Startled but pleased, Sami and Maryam followed the singing bird deeper into the heart of the bustling castle. Through archways and around corners they went, always staying close to the melodious tune until the bird led them to a cozy room filled with magical plants and bubbling potions. In the center sat an old yet wise-looking owl, its eyes twinkling with amusement. "So you found your way here," the owl hooted softly. "I've been expecting you." Startled by the sudden voice, Sami and Maryam jumped. Looking around the room, they couldn't help but feel a mix of fascination and apprehension. They knew they were in a place of great magic, but why was the owl waiting for them? What was his purpose in leading them to this mystical room? As they pondered these questions, the owl spoke again, his voice echoing wisdom and knowledge. "I am the keeper of this castle," he began, "and I have been watching over this island for many years." The children exchanged nervous glances. They had stumbled upon something extraordinary, but they weren't quite sure what to expect next. As the owl continued, the room seemed to hum with anticipation. "This island," the owl went on, "is a place of wonder and magic, where mythical creatures live and enchanted beings dwell." He paused, his gaze turning serious. "But there is darkness brewing here, a shadow that threatens to consume all the joy and wonder." Sami and Maryam listened intently, their young hearts pounding with a mix of excitement and concern. They had come seeking adventure, but they hadn't anticipated facing such a daunting task. "We want to help," whispered Maryam, her voice filled with determination. Sami nodded, his eyes shining with bravery. They had come this far, and they weren't about to turn back now. The owl looked at them for a moment, his gaze piercing yet kind. "Very well," he finally said. "I will tell you what you must do. But be warned, the path ahead is fraught with peril, and only the most courageous of hearts shall prevail." And so the children began their quest. First, they had to cross a sparkling blue river, but it wasn't just any river. It was a magical one filled with enchanted creatures that tested their wit and patience. Next, they ventured into a whispering wood where ancient trees gossiped secrets and tricky paths led them in circles. They had to rely on their instincts and learn to trust each other. As they journeyed deeper into the island's heart, the air grew heavy with magic, and the challenges became more daunting. Finally, they arrived at an ancient rock monolith that pulsed with power. This was the key to restoring the island's magic, but it was also guarded by a fearsome beast. With their courage and newfound skills, Sami and Maryam faced each challenge head-on. They outsmarted the river's playful sprites, navigated the whispering wood's winding paths, and finally confronted the beast guarding the ancient rock. Their adventure had led them to this moment, and they knew that their journey's success rested on their next steps. With a determined look in their eyes, Sami and Maryam stood before the monolith, ready to face whatever lay ahead. They knew that the fate of the magical island rested on their shoulders, and they weren't going to let it fall into darkness. As they stepped forward, the monolith rumbled, its energy surging around them. The air crackled with power, and the very earth seemed to vibrate with anticipation. With bated breath, Sami and Maryam felt the monolith's power envelop them. Its energy surged through their bodies, connecting them to the island's magic. A brilliant light erupted, filling the clearing and bathing the ancient rock in its ethereal glow. As the light subsided, Sami and Maryam found themselves transformed. They could feel the island's magic flowing through them, giving them strength, courage, and a deep connection to the land and its inhabitants. Before them stood the majestic unicorn, its eyes filled with gratitude. "You have done it," it exclaimed, its voice echoing with joy. "You have restored the balance. The island is forever in your debt." As if in celebration, flowers burst into bloom around them, and the nearby river shimmered with renewed life. The transformation of the island was complete, and Sami and Maryam knew they had played a part in its restoration. But their adventure was not over yet. As the celebration on the island continued, Sami and Maryam knew it was time to return home. They had restored the balance of magic, but they would never forget their time on the extraordinary island of magic. With heavy hearts, they bid farewell to the grateful creatures and the enchanting places they had discovered. As they stepped back into their world, they carried with them the magic they had experienced. Upon their return to the village, Sami and Maryam shared their incredible tale with wide-eyed wonder. The villagers listened in awe as the children described the talking animals, the magical plants, and the wondrous creatures they had encountered. The tale of their adventure spread far and wide, becoming a legend whispered among the locals. Years passed, but the memory of their extraordinary journey remained vivid in their hearts. Sami and Maryam often reminisced about their time on the mystical island, the challenges they had overcome, and the friendships they had forged. The experience had not only filled them with unforgettable memories, but it also shaped them into courageous and compassionate individuals. And so, the tale of their bravery echoed through the ages, inspiring generations to come with its timeless message of friendship, courage, and the boundless wonders that awaited those who dared to dream. The end.